What's going on, everybody? You know what it is. Welcome to another edition of the NBA Betting Show right here on FTN. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez. With me this week, we got our guy Noops, and PropGod is back. You may not have seen Prop as much the last couple of weeks because he has a new addition to his family. So we got to give him a big shout out. Are you getting sleep? The no is minus 3,000 on that one, Prop.
Man, I say about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours a day.
Listen, that's good. That's good work right there. Okay. And to be honest, sometimes at like 2, 3 a.m. when you got that overnight shift, that's the best time to hit waivers in your fantasy league, do a little bit of research, maybe rock someone to sleep and checking out some stats. So there's way to multitask there, to be sure. What's going on, guys? Everybody, I see people in the chat already. If you have anything for us, make sure you let us know in the comments. We will respond to them. We'll get some of those out there. Be sure to like and subscribe. This way, to be quite honest, when we go live, whether it's this show or any show over at FTN on the YouTube channel, you get a notification. Then you could smash and hammer the bets we are giving you, and your balance will build, and you can thank us. So let's get into it. We've got 12 games on the slate today. The NBA was off on election day yesterday, but they are back in action right now. I guess I want to start. Let's start with you, Noops. We got the New York Knicks in action in Atlanta to take on the Hawks. And I think you believe the Knicks are going to score some points in this one.
Points in bunches, Dane. This New York Knicks team really starting to put it together on offense. Jalen Brunson, we already saw how good he could be last year. Karl Anthony Towns, we've known for years what he's capable of, but seems to have found another kind of level of comfort with this team that really did need a second scorer, honestly, a volume scorer, if you will. There's just not a lot of guys in that team that want to handle the ball. He has been absolutely dominating some of those matchups. Tonight, they go up against a Hawks team that is just pitiful at this point. So many injuries, missing starters, missing backups. They've really struggled, especially on the defensive end, and I think they will tonight. I look at Clint Capella and Yeka Okongwu. Okongwu is still banged up, but playing. Neither of those guys are tall enough or athletic enough to really slow down Towns. I think it'll be a good night for him. I haven't played any of his props yet. I think that's a nice look if you're kind of into that thing or want to use him in some DFS. Brunson, again, should be able to basically do work. Dyson Daniels a pretty solid defender, but not sure he quite has the speed to stay in front of Brunson. The Knicks coming off a loss here. Now, maybe a little bit of a sleepy spot. It's the last game of, I believe, a 4-game road trip before heading back to New York to play the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday. But coming off a loss, Thibodeau is going to have those guys ready to go, playing hard and pushing for the entire game. I have the Knicks scoring almost 120 points here. So there's 116.5, even 117.5 if that's all you have access to. Give me a Knicks team total over. I like this quite a bit.
All right, fair enough. Over 117.5. You can get that at FanDuel, almost at even money. Let me ask you though, Noops, why go the team total? It seems like you really like the matchup for Cat tonight. Why not go in some of his props? You talked about the matchup with the bigs against Atlanta that are and are not there. So why take the entire team instead of focusing in on Cat?
Yeah, I took a look at some underlying things. Also, our model at FTN, which is generally pretty sharp. Model very close to what the market has. Some of the underlying factors I look at did push a little bit towards the Towns over. I think there is a chance this game's a blowout. And if it is, we might not see Towns play as many minutes. Now, generally, Thibodeau doesn't rest guys, but there's always a chance late in the game here. We see them try to work in some of the younger guys, maybe some of the younger players here, get them some minutes before they go home. So I think it's just a little simpler, focus on the whole team scoring, even though I do think a lot of it will go through Towns.
All right, fair enough. I like that idea of being afraid of the garbage time. You're not going to hit your props if you're in, warm-up sweats in the fourth quarter. So that makes sense. I will say this. One thing I like to do in general, as we not only give you a fish, but teach you how to fish, is if it's going into that blowout kind of territory, to really take under on some of those props, right? Because of the idea that some of the starters may be out. I know, Noops, when we were doing some of those playback streams in the playoffs last year, we thought about that when sometimes games got into blowout territory. So think about that one as well, especially if you think the Knicks will do work down in the ATL. Listen, we have done this show, I think 3 or 4 times. I think I've given this bet 3 or 4 times. I'm going right back to it. It is Derek White over on his 3-point prop. Again, this time it is against the Golden State Warriors. I mean, the Boston Celtics have played 8 games so far this season. Derek White has had 3 or more threes in 7 of the 8 of them. He's had 4 or more threes in 5 of the 8 of them, including the last 2 games the C's have played. Boston as a team 154 threes on the season in 8 games. That is 31 more than the second team in the NBA, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are really trying to chuck it up from beyond the arc. Now, you may say, this is against Golden State. And if you look deep into the stats, the Golden State Warriors do not usually give up the 3 much in terms of the number they give up against the percentage that teams shoot against them from beyond the arc. But then I looked at that schedule for Golden State. They played Houston. They played Washington. Those are 2 of the 5 lowest percent 3-point shooting teams in the league. They've played Detroit. They've played the Sacramento Kings twice. Those are all teams that do not really score from beyond the arc. So I think Boston in this game, in a game that has a 230.5 total, will be able to dictate the pace. Why? Because they've been able to do that all year long against whoever they are playing. So I do think that Derek White will continue to be a big part of why the Boston Celtics continue to drain it from beyond the arc. So Derek White over 3.5 3-pointers in this one. You can get that on FanDuel at -122. Prop, I've literally given this one out every single time the Boston Celtics are on the schedule. Are you seeing that as well, Prop, that Boston is really taking it to the extreme in terms of going from beyond the arc? Oh, I think you might be muted, Prop.
Oh, now.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
We heard you before. You know what it was? Maybe it was the little one that was trying to take some of your time away and you had to mute it, but you are back. What do you think about Boston chucking from deep?
Yeah, I think you could take anybody in the starting lineup, take their threes over on any game and feel confident in that. I think this is a great matchup. So I'm not mad at that over there. I mean, Holiday's number start off at 1.5. It's continued to bump up, but Derek White, I love the White look tonight. We were looking at that earlier this morning too, so I'm with you there.
All right, fair enough. Now, I know you've got your eyes out there in Sacramento. They're against the Toronto Raptors. We were talking about Sabonis maybe for a triple-double, but you found the number you like on Sabonis maybe even better than the triple-double.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to go with the baseline on his assists first, over 7.5 plus 125 on DraftKings. This number he is over in 3 straight games against the Toronto Raptors, twice last season. And then last week, November 2nd. So 11 assists, 10 assists, and 10 assists. You look at the Raptors team, I mean, it's pretty bad, honestly. Depleted too. But looking at assists against centers, they're allowing the third most per game. Now, it's only 5.24. But if you look at Sabonis, he's the true facilitator for the Kings. So I expect them to struggle. Rebounds are giving up the 6th most to centers, and they're giving up the 2nd most points per game. So it's just a dream matchup for Sabonis, and he crushes them every time. A triple-double in 3 straight. So I'll start off with the 7.5 assists plus 125. And if you want that triple-double, it's plus 475 on Bet365.
Hey, Prop, what do you think has been the impact of DeRozan there in Sacramento? Because, Sabonis has been triple-doubles left and right. I think he led the NBA in triple-doubles last year. His points look to be a little bit depressed this year. I mean, it doesn't matter for triple doubles. It doesn't matter for the kind of rebounds and assists. But what do you think has been the impact? Because I think it's kind of a good get for Sacramento, for their actual team, even if not necessarily for the props that we're betting here on the NBA betting show. But what do you think about, DeRozan joining Sacramento?
I think he's a great fit, honestly, because if you get into a close game now with Sacramento, I like their chances against anybody because De'Aaron Fox is someone who has been in the running for Clutch Player of the Year the last 2 seasons. So when it comes to the fourth quarter, he turns it on. And what has DeRozan done in Chicago the last 2 years? He was automatic in the fourth quarter too. Look at him this season. DeRozan is averaging 8 points per game in the fourth quarter. I think that's where his presence is felt the most. But I also feel like he's like I would say like a guy who can get to his spot and get a bucket at any time that they need it. But De'Aaron Fox can do the same thing. So I just will say he makes him more versatile, especially from the mid range. I think they need more consistency out of Keegan Murray. That'll be the next step for Sacramento as far as the being a threat from the outside because he's not reliable as they would need him to be like at that next step of a team. But I think he's a great fit though.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the mid-range game, right? Like DeMar DeRozan, the lost art of the mid-range jumper. If anybody in the NBA can do that, it is DeMar. Let's go back to you, Noops. We got Chicago down in Texas against the Dallas Mavericks today. You don't necessarily, or maybe you think they're going to win outright, but this is a line that was at 10 earlier in the day. It's going down. It's now at 9.5, but you're not scared. A lot of people seem to be betting the Bulls with you. That's why that number is going down. Tell me why you like Chicago in this one.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things to do in handicapping the NBA, Dane, is to figure out what the value is of secondary players. Everybody knows what LeBron James is worth. Everybody knows what Steph Curry is worth. Everybody knows what Anthony Edwards is worth. But you look at this Dallas Mavericks team, they're going to be missing PJ Washington tonight, and they might also be, it looks like they're going to be without Derek Lively Jr. tonight. It's hard to value players like that, and I think the market is doing a bad job of it. I think this Dallas team is significantly worse without those two pieces. Since Derek Jones Jr. is no longer on the team, PJ Washington is really the only guy they have on the roster that can be a small ball power forward, provide shooting and enough defense if they want to play a little bit smaller. Lively's the best center on the team. I like Gafford, nice player, but limited in his passing, limited a little bit in some of his defensive capabilities. Lively really makes a big difference here. So I look at this line, I don't think the market is basically moved the rating on Dallas down far enough, again, given that Washington's out and Derek Lively is doubtful tonight. At the same time, on the other side of the ball, the Chicago Bulls might be without Zach LaVine. And I'm not going to tell you the Bulls are better without LaVine, but they're not much worse, and they're just a different team that might actually be better suited for this matchup. You always want as much shooting on the floor as possible. You lose LaVine, you lose some shooting, but you bring Ayo Dosunmu into the starting lineup, and you engage a couple guards that are just better defensively, and against a team that's going to be firing Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving at you, I think that matchup makes a lot of sense. And again, offensively, you lose the shooting, but in a good way. Josh Giddey has the ball more. Kobe White has the ball more here. So it is the first night of a back-to-back for Chicago, but Billy Donovan has generally pushed them harder in the first night, willing to sacrifice a little bit in the second night. So maybe a little bit of hesitation there given the schedule spot, but I think the Bulls can keep this game close. I had it basically a 6.5, 7-point game. So 9.5, 10, 10.5, it all sounds good. I'll take the Bulls with the points.
All right. Prop, I know here Noops is saying that we may or may not have Zach LaVine tonight. If he is in the lineup tonight in the beginning of a back-to-back, you like him to do some work here.
Yes, sir. I had took his points the other day, and he got ruled out late. He was at shoot-around today, and usually when we see a guy shoot-around, they end up going. I think he's going to go tonight, and like Noob said, it's the first leg of a back-to-back, and he says Billy likes to push the guys. I think they'll go full out tonight, and then LaVine will probably rest tomorrow. But the over 19.5 points, I think it's just simply too low. With DeRozan out of the way, I just feel like we get that old Zach LaVine back. I think he was a little disrespected. He didn't play too well, of course, last year. The contract is bad, so, the trade value is not there. But without DeRozan, I think people forget how productive LaVine was scoring the basketball, and I think we're going to see that all year long. 19.5, he's over in 3 out of 4 games. I'm sorry, 5 out of 6 games this season, averaging 22.7, so almost 23 points a night. He's hit the over in 3 out of his last 4 against the Mavericks. He's taking 15 shots a night, averaging almost 7 points in the paint per game. If you look at the Mavericks defense, to shooting guards, they're allowing the 5th most points in the paint per game at 8, and allowing 22 points a night to shooting guards. So I think it's a great spot for him. He is more rested than the rest of the guys because he missed that last game. So I think he gets active tonight.
So let me ask you something. You said he missed the last game. We got a back-to-back here coming up. Maybe he plays in this one, doesn't play on the back half of the back-to-back. When guys like that have kind of rest load management happening, or you expect they maybe only play one of those 2 games, are you more likely to hammer them in the game they are playing, thinking they're going to give max effort, maybe even have more minutes in the game that they are playing sometimes, Prop?
Yeah, especially when it's a guy that we think is on a injury management type of situation, because I think they're going to go all out because they know they're not playing that next night, and these guys want their numbers. So if you look at LaVine in history, it's not too crazy on extended rest like this, but 4+ days rest. The last time it happened, he scored 27 points, and that was against the Sacramento Kings. So.
All right, fair enough. Zach LaVine to get to 20 points. You can get that at -120 over at BetMGM. I'm going to go over to Grizzlies and Lakers. I have a prop in this game. So does Prop. We're both on the same player. I'm going to go first. I pray to Ja, King Haile Selassie, Ja Morant here, over 8.5 assists against the Lakers. Now, listen, Ja had 2 assists in one game this year, but every other game so far this season, he has gone over this number. He averages 9.7 assists on the game. Memphis as a team, they average 30.5 assists. So the ball moves there for Memphis. That rate as a team is second highest in the NBA. They also have a good shooting percentage. All right. So I hate it all the time when my guy gets you in a good spot and then you clank the shot, right? But the Memphis Grizzlies, they shoot 48.6% from the floor. That is 4th best in the NBA. And the Lakers on the other side, they allow 49% shooting. That's the 3rd highest. These are also 2 of the highest pace teams in the NBA. Memphis is 5th. LA is 8th. Memphis with 102 possessions. The Lakers with 100 possessions per 48 minutes, right? So I think there'll be more opportunities in this one in something that could be an up and down game. When you get it up and down, you might get some cheap assists there on the break for Ja Morant as well. You put it all together, I think he's going to get 8.5 assists. Before the show, I was talking to Noops, and he was talking about what's the triple-double number, all right? Because we thought that he might get his 2nd triple-double of the season. He does have one already earlier last month against the Milwaukee Bucks. But I think at -125 on FanDuel, Ja Morant will get at least 9 assists in this one. So I'll take it over to you now, Prop. You're also on Ja Morant, but on a lower number, and you got it at plus money.
Yes, sir. Ja over 5.5 rebounds is plus 110 on FanDuel. And you said you like the assist. I do like the triple-double. I got some VIP action. Won't share everything, but I think Ja's in a great spot tonight. As far as the 5.5 rebounds, he's over in his last 6 out of 11 against the Lakers, averaging 6.5 rebounds per game. If you take the sample size down a little bit and make it just the last 7 games, he's over in 5 out of the last 7, averaging 7 rebounds a night. Now, if you do this split and take it to at home against the Lakers, he has a 10 plus rebounds in 3 out of his last 4 games, and he's covered a 5.5 and 4 straight at home against the Lakers. So you already talked about the assist numbers. The Lakers are giving up the 5th most assists to point guards. They're giving up the 9th most rebounds. So I just think it's a great spot for Ja. And they're at home in Memphis. We know that they had the little scuffle last season, so we got the narrative there too. Oh, was that last season? No, that was the season before. But when it comes to the Lakers and Grizzlies, it's always a back and forth. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. And listen, Noops, it was interesting because you were talking about Ja for the triple-double as well. You were asking me before the show if you thought, what the triple-double number was for him. So it sounds like you probably like this rebound number and the assist number for Ja tonight.
Yeah, I do. It's incredible to watch what he's been able to do. A team that is dealing with some injuries, no Marcus Smart, no Desmond Bane. He is finding a way to just carry this team, basically. And the rebounding is the only one that I'm a little uncertain of. And obviously, that makes sense. It's the lowest total of the whole group. But 10 plus assists, I would look at that for sure. Sprinkle a little bit on the triple-double. He is just going to keep packing the stat sheet until teams find a way to slow him down, or he has to give the ball when some of his friends come back to play.
All right, fair enough. Let's keep it with you, Noops. One of the last props you have for us here on the NBA betting show. Remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let us know. We got some people in the comments already saying, let's go prop, wondering if it's a Tatum revenge game potentially against Steve Kerr. We'll see about that. I think he'll get more playing time tonight than he did over the summer when Steve Kerr was his coach. But Noops, to finish it off, you've got the young guard in Orlando at Indiana, and I think this is a good one. I think this is the highest total on the board, and you think Suggs is going to be part of that point scoring effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And this simply isn't just because Paolo Banchero is out. Of course, that's helped. In the 3 games without Banchero, Suggs has averaged 15 shot attempts per game. But the 2-3 games prior to that, there was a big step up in his work. I'm not sure exactly what's changed. I haven't had a chance to go back and look at the games. And unfortunately, now with that Paolo out, it's a little tough to nail down the dynamic. But even those 3 games prior to Paolo going out, 17 attempts, 16 attempts. He's becoming a bigger part of the offense. He is shooting the ball more freely. He just looks more comfortable out there. So I'm going to continue to play his point total over. Our model at FTN loves this. And as much as I like the prop tool, one of my favorite things we have at FTN is the same game parlay tool, where not only can you see what players' projections are, it tells you what the odds are per our projection. So not only when I go into the prop tool does it tell me, great, you should be playing Suggs points over, we make it 22.4. Awesome. That's over 18.5. But you click the over button, you click that little plus sign, it shoots over to the right and tells me the true odds on that are -178. You can find this over at -105, -110. I think there might even be an even money number still out there. That is just a huge edge. Everything screams points for Suggs tonight. The matchup should be really good. The Pacers don't stop anybody, especially guards. Again, no Banchero. The usage should be high, and he's already been shooting the ball well. So the math likes it. My gut likes it. Everything I can find about this bet makes me feel better about it. So give me Suggs to score a lot of points tonight, over 18.5 at the very least.
The question is, does your incredible beard like it as well, Noobs? Because if it does, then I might have to hit it myself after this game. Jalen Suggs over 18.5 points. We get also a great tool over at FTN. You put it in and you see at the prop shop where they're hanging these at all across the book. So make sure you do that before you bet any of these props to get the best of the number and get the best number itself. It may be higher or lower at some books. So go on over to the prop shop over at FTN. I got one last one to finish us off today. I'm going to Nikola Jokic, okay? And they're playing Oklahoma City. Remember, there is no Jamal Murray right now. I'm taking his over points plus assists at 37.5. When you put his points and assists together, he's averaging 40 on the season. He's averaging 12.8 assists in his last 4 games. The last 2, of course, without Jamal Murray. Oklahoma City, they have a high pace, so there could be some more opportunities there. And I know it's early in the season, and I don't usually care about like these narratives. But remember, they're already 3 games back of Oklahoma City. They lost by 30 to this team, and I think the Nuggets opener last time. So I think this is going to be one of those for Jokic. Like, if you want to do it right, you got to do it yourself. I think the usage for Nikola Jokic is going to be through the roof in this one. So he will either score or be involved by putting the guys in the right position to do so. So I think you put it all together, and it's going to be Jokic over the 37.5 assists. Our tools over at FTN, they project a 10.5 for assists for him. That's a 10.2% edge over the 9.5 number that is being posted for just the assist. And they project 30.1 points for Nikola Jokic today, which is an 8.5 point edge over the 27.5 points that the books are hanging for Jokic. And because I'm worried that it could wind up being, 40 points and only 8 assists, or it could be one of those things where he gets like 23 points, but 17 assists. So I'm going to put them together because I do believe the ball will be in his hands almost every single possession when he is on the floor. I'm putting it together going over the 37.5 assists plus points. You can find that over at FanDuel at -106. And I do think, listen, it's very early, but they're going to try and show Oklahoma City tonight that, hey, we are still here. We are still involved, and it will be the Joker doing a lot of it. So I think we've gotten through all of our plays. You got 3 from me. You got 3 from Noops. You got 3 from Prop. What I want to do here before we get out is, first of all, I got a question for you, Prop, because we got someone here in the chat saying, shout out to Prop with the fresh hat. Why don't you tell people what you're rocking on your lid there tonight?
Oh yeah, I got the throwback Steelers cap, man, from 47. Shout out to the Steelers. I'm a Justin Fields fan, so I bought it before Russ came back.
Fair enough. I think also, Prop, you're going to be on the NFL betting show with me and our guy Sam Chowdhury tomorrow. I'm going to tell you right now, I like the Steelers +3 tomorrow on Sunday. I don't think Jaden Daniels has ever seen a defense like this. And tomorrow, I'll tell you what Mike Tomlin's stats are as a dog since he's been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that is one that we'll talk about tomorrow. You guys got to get down with us. That's why I say to subscribe and like. So when it is Prop, myself, and Sam on the NFL betting show tomorrow, you'll get that notification and you can even more money. You take all the props we gave you today, you roll them over into what we give you tomorrow, and then you'll start making some bank. But Prop, what are you working on so far this week? I know you're in the trenches doing the live betting. What do we got coming out from you this week over here at FTN?
Yeah, the rest of the week. So tomorrow we got the NFL show. I'll be screaming the Thursday night football game tomorrow, live betting that. And then I got the Roundtree article coming out tomorrow as well for the wide receivers this weekend on Sunday. Think I got a Thursday night football, same game parlay for tomorrow. And then I got the playbook coming out on Sunday as well for the NFL. So a lot of NFL content at the end of the week.
Nice. Thursday night football. I was on with Chris Meany, obviously, Sirius XM, channel 87, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And it doesn't look like T. Higgins is going to play on Thursday. So to me, it is Mike Gesicki season, if you want to know the truth. We may see a horrible version of the gritty yet again. And again, that Baltimore Ravens pass defense can be had. Teams are throwing against Baltimore a ton in a game that I expect to be pretty high scoring. And if you want a free square, just bet the Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. The man has 13 touchdowns in only 9 games. Noop, what about you? What are you working on so far this week here over at FTN?
We always got Hoops with Noops going basically every day of the week, writing or doing one of these.
Oh, we might have lost Noops.
Yeah,
but don't you worry about it. He froze, but don't you worry about it.
Today, so make sure you get in there, check all that out. And again, there'll be Hoops with Noops just about every day of the week. We also have some Thursday night first touchdown scores. I think Gesicki will definitely be on the list, as will Andre Yoshivas, which with apologies to Mr. Yoshivas. I thought it was Iosivas. For some reason, I thought it was Hispanic.
It looks like Iosivas, though.
I know. Well, I thought it was, for some reason, I thought he was Hispanic. I don't know why. It turns out he's Japanese. Yoshivas, it is. He's definitely going to be on the list. It should be a really fun game, but always tons of content going, and getting that Discord. It's a great place.
Yeah, absolutely. Chase Brown, also someone to look at. Remember, Zach Moss looked like he's down for the season. Cincinnati turned around and traded for Khalil Herbert from the Chicago Bears, but that only happened about 48 hours ago. So I don't know how up he is going to be, how many snaps he's going to be. It could be heavily concentrated for Chase Brown in the Cincinnati offense. I think there's going to be production aplenty on Thursday night. But Prop, myself, and Sam, we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Remember here, the NBA betting show, Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. Eastern time. We'll be back at it next week with some more plays. Hopefully you come on back and you can let us know if you hit some of these, and your balance will thank you. As always, thanks for getting down with us. We will see you next week right here for some more winners. Now go on over there, hammer those picks, and click submit. We out of here until next time. Peace.